Thank you, Sophie, and hello, everyone. My name is Yixiao Ma from Vitro. And in this following part, I will use example building to give you a demo of the calculation sheet for SRI assessment. First, some general information about this example building. It's a semi-detached single-family house with 160 square meters, located in Belgium, constructed in 2005. It's the original state. There is no renovation. For the heating system, the heating is on gas boiler, temperature sensors available in each room, and they are in the whole distribution system and the emission system are individually controlled. So for domestic hot water supply, it is combined with the gas boiler. There is no storage tank. There is no cooling system. The mechanical ventilation system is available but manually controlled. For the lighting system, 50% of the lighting is manual control on off. Another half is automatic control on off. Then there is external shutter for the solar shading, then manually controlled. And the status of the shutter can be reported via an app. And there is PV on the rooftop, no battery storage, no electric vehicle or charging available on site. So this is the building that I'm going to use to demonstrate you how the SRI calculation sheet will work. This is the calculation sheet. The current version is 4.4. And in the first tab, info, there is the overview of different tabs. The building information tab and the tab calculation are always mandatory to be filled out. And the tab results and the tab weightings are informative. And the tab overview of services and the different types for each domain is informative, but only mandatory when you add extra services or to enable or disable some services manually. And some general instructions. The input fields are in yellow, and please only use these yellow fields to provide your input. And all the rest of the fields are automatically calculated or filled out and cannot be edited. And here you can find a list of abbreviations that used in this calculation sheet. And some general terms and conditions to use this assessment tool. And the tab building information. First, you can select a preferred language. Of course, English is the default language. Then for the assessor information, the assessor can fill out his or her contact details as optional option. Then for general building information, I have pre-filled this part just to save some time. And then this part includes building type, because this is a residential building, so it's residential, but you can also select non-residential. Then building usage, which is a single family house that I selected from the drop-down list. You can also see other types of usages. Then the location, it's located in Belgium, and the climate zone is automatically detected when you fill out the country. This has an impact on the SRI score later. Then the total floor area, total useful floor area of the building, the construction year, and the building state, and some general description or a brief description of the building. Then the address of the building. Then in the tab building information, in this following section, it's important to make some choices. the preferred weighting factors, there are two options. Either you use a default set of weighting factors, or you also have the option to define this set of weighting factors by yourself in the weightings tab. And you can choose between method A, as Sophie just mentioned, a simplified method with 27 services that are predefined in the catalog, or a method B, which is a detailed method, covers 54 predefined services. And you also have the option to customize your service list. This can be done in the overview of the services tab in column L. Then a triage process allows the user to define which technical domain are actually present in the building. The presence of each technical domain should be indicated by the user. For the domains that are present in your building, you can select 1. For the domains that are absent but mandatory, you can select 2. And for the domains that are absent and not mandatory to be assessed in the building, you can select 0. And it is important, as Sophie just mentioned, it's up to the member states to decide whether this domain is mandatory to be assessed or not. So in this building, I have filled out the domains that are present in my building. Heating is present, hot water is present, ventilation, lighting, dynamic building envelope, electricity, monitoring and control, they are all present, except for cooling and electric vehicle charging. Then last but not the least, we would like also you to fill out the assessment date. Then I would like to first mention the other tabs before going into the calculation tab. First, in the weightings tab, as I said before, the user has the option to define his or her own set of weighting factors, but this has to be defined per technical domain and the impact criteria. And we provide a default set of weighting factors for residential buildings, non-residential buildings, for different climate zones, Northern Europe, Western Europe, Southern Europe. And this default, let's say, weighting factors are set according to the relative importance of each domain in the energy balance for the buildings, wherever deemed relevant. And these are different for different regions and different building types, as I mentioned. Some further detailed explanation can be found in the practical guide, which is also in the assessment package. Then the overview of services tab. It is this tab contains all the details about the catalog. You can see all the services that are included in this assessment, and column L indicates that whether this service is part of method A. Column K indicates whether this service is included in method B. And as I mentioned before, you can customize your own service list in column L. And you can always add new services or extra services by using these yellow cells. Then the tab calculation is where the assessment is actually performed. For each service available, the assessor evaluates the functionality level enabled by the building. So as I mentioned, I already pre-filled the the services that are applicable for this building. Now I will go through them one by one. I just want to ask, do I need to zoom in a little bit, or do you see the font well? Sophie, can you?
Yes, I
confirm?
think it's better if you can zoom in a little.
Is this?
Yes, it's better. Thank you.
Okay. And as I mentioned, this is the main page to be used by the user, and you can indicate first of all maybe the different services are grouped in color for each technical domain. You can see orange here for heating and green here for domestic hot water, etc. Then in column I, we ask the user to indicate whether this service is applicable in your building. This is to be assessed by the assessor. 1 means applicable and 0 is not applicable. I will give you an example here. For the first service, heating emission control, this is available in my building, so I select 1. And the main functionality level for this service is 2, which is individual room control with thermostatic valves. Then the share of this service in my building is throughout the whole building. So it's 100%. Then for maybe something else to mention is that in column I, if you select a simplified method, some of the services are grayed out. So the assessor is only asked to fill out the yellow cells. And to continue in my building for service storage and shifting of the thermal energy, there is no storage tank, so I select 0. And for heat generator control, there are several services available. Heating generator control, all except heat pumps. Heat generator control for all for heat pumps, because I have a gas boiler. That's why I select 1 here, and the main functionality level is also 1, which is variable temperature control depending on the outdoor temperature. And I have no heat pump in my building. That's why it's 0. Then the report information regarding the heating system performance, it's available in my building, and the main functionality level is 1 and 100%. 1 means central or remote reporting of current performance KPIs. And for hot water, I don't have a hot water storage tank. That's why it's 0. And control of the hot water storage charging, it's also 0. Then reporting information regarding the domestic hot water performance. I have information available from the gas boiler, hence it's 1. And functionality level is also 1, indication of actual values, because I can see that the temperature is available from my gas boiler. For cooling, you see that there's no cell in yellow in column I. That means that I don't need to assess this because its cooling is not available in my building. And ventilation, supply air flow control at the room level, this service is available in my building, and it is clock control. Sorry, it should be manual control, which is 0, you see that it's a functionality level 0. And feedback information available regarding the indoor air quality. This information is available in my system, and air quality sensors are available in each room. So that's functionality level 1. Then artificial lighting. If you remember, I have 50% lighting on manual control and the other 50% on automatic on-off control. That's why I have 2 functionality levels for this one specific service. First, I indicate the main functionality level 0, which is manual control, with 50% of my building floor area, and the other part is functionality level 2, which is automatic control, automatic detection, automatic on, dimmed, or automatic off. And this share of the additional functionality level is automatically controlled. Automatically fill out. The next, it's the window control. I have solar shading external shutter for my windows. That's why it's available. And the main functionality level is 1 because it's it's manually controlled, but motorized operation with manual control. And next is the reporting information regarding the performance of the dynamic building envelope systems. I have app in my building which reports the status of the shutter. That's why this service is also available, and it's the functionality level 1, which is the position of each product and what detection are reported. Then next is the electricity. I have it's the reporting information regarding the local electricity generation. So I have a PV system on the roof, and this service has the electricity generation is reported with the PV system, and main functionality level is 2. Actual values and historical data are recorded. And there is no battery storage in the building, so it's 0. And the feedback information regarding the energy storage, hence it's also 0. And the electricity consumption information are available, and with a functionality level of 1, reporting on the current electricity consumption on building level. And I have no EV charging on site. That's why this domain is not assessed applicable. And for monitoring and control, there are 3 services to be assessed. First is the central reporting of the TBS performance and energy use. I have it available in the building and with a level of 2. And for the smart grid integration, it's 0. And for a single platform that allows the automatic control and the TBS coordination, that is also 0 because I don't have everything integrated in a TBS, in a BMS, sorry. Then after fill out all these functionality levels and the services, we also welcome the user to provide some optional feedback, including the estimated assessment time in minutes and some additional comments on the experience that you have when you evaluate this specific service. Then in the results tab, after you fill out all the services and their corresponding functionality levels. The results are presented in this tab. In this tab, we present the total aggregated SRI score, the final score in a percentage and in a class. Then we present the impact scores in each impact criteria. And we present the scores in each technical domain. You see that cooling and electric vehicle charging are not applicable in this building. In this specific case, that's why they're 0. And we provide a detailed score matrix per pair impact criteria and the technical domain, so that you have the full details of the calculation results. Furthermore, we provide the aggregated results for 3 key functionalities: building, user, and grids, the 3 key functionalities of SRI. And you see that there is also a matrix for the aggregated score. In each of, I think, last 9 tabs, H means heating, domestic hot, DHW means domestic hot water, C means cooling, etc. That you can find a detailed 0 to 3 scores per impacts and per functionality level for each specific service. These impact scores are used in the SRI calculation. Sophie, that's more or less it. Yes, last thing before I forget, I would also like to show you the difference between the domains that are absent but mandatory, and the domains that are absent but not mandatory. So as you remember that this is a triage process that identifies the domains that are present in your building, in your specific building, and the domains that are absent, which is defined, which is decided by the member states. This, if I select, for instance, if I switch on cooling to 2, this means cooling in this case is absent in your building, but still required to be assessed by your member states, and it's a mandatory domain to be assessed in your specific case. I will first put this as a 0. The final score when I put cooling as 0 is 36%, and with a class of E. But if cooling is mandatory to be assessed by your member states, I put it as 2. This will have an impact on the final SRI score, and it becomes 22%, because cooling in this case is mandatory to be assessed, and the maximum obtainable score in the SRI calculation sheet are increased. So that's why you get a lower SRI score, and the SRI class increased to F.